It looks very interesting. It's coming out on October 22nd. No, sorry,
Soon.
October, not 22nd, October 2022. So it's coming out in
22.
October, this upcoming October, on
It's you
Xbox
heard it here
consoles.
first.
20. Oh, it would be so great if it actually came out on the 22nd.
We'll have to see. That would actually be cool if it does.
Big leaker right here.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome to the Bad Gamer, Good Gamer podcast. To no one's surprise, the Xbox and Bethesda showcase was riddled with announcements and gameplay footage. But most of all, almost every game announced was a Game Pass title, and we want to talk about some of our top picks from both showcases. So, settle in and enjoy the show. Hey, Food, how's it going?
Hey Tim, good. Just hard at work doing a podcast in the office. So
Pun intended.
no, I'm doing well. How about you, man? How's things?
I'm doing well as well. My work doesn't start until 2 hours, so
Lucky.
I'm hard at work waking up early and doing the podcast. So
That's
we're
a
both two for
first.
two.
Nice. Yeah, two for
That's
two.
yeah. But anyways, we don't have a lot of time. You're at the office. I got to go to
Yeah,
work at some point, and we've
exactly.
got a big showcase to talk about. The Xbox and Bethesda showcase.
It was a great
Down.
showcase. Yeah,
Both showcases, the normal one, the main one, and the extended one, is insane. They announced so many games. The ones that they announced in the showcases are 35 games, I believe. But in total, what they promised is that for the next 12 months, they will be releasing. The target is to release, because there could be delays, you never know.
definitely.
But the
Yeah,
target is to release 50 games in the next 12 months. 43 of these
it's
50
huge.
games will be on Game Pass. 43 titles in the next month on Game Pass. That is crazy.
Yeah, they're going hard on the Game Pass. Like they are supporting it 100% like now.
Yeah, as they should. Of the 35 games that they announced, 23 of them I think are Game Pass titles. No, not 23. Like I think around 30 are like Game
30.
Pass
Yeah, I think
titles.
so. Yeah,
Yeah, and 22 of them, if I'm not mistaken, are day one Game Pass titles.
nice. 22. Okay.
So the value of Game Pass keeps going higher. All you have to do is just find a few games that you like, and with all the
That's it.
acquisitions and all the developers that are like creating games for Xbox, there's bound to be something for you.
Yeah.
Like it's gonna happen, whether it's a first party game or a third party game.
Yeah, I've done it before
So
where I just signed up because there's a
yeah,
game I really liked. I just
yeah,
wanted to play
exactly.
it, and
Play it for a
yeah,
month and that's it. I think they announced in their extended showcase, by the way, that you can get Xbox for the first month or three for $1 a month. Not
yeah, they
Xbox,
had
Game
that
Pass.
promotion.
Yeah.
They had that
They
promotion
have it
before,
every now
so
and then, but they announced
yeah,
it in the extended showcase. But without further ado, let's talk
jump in.
about our top picks, the games that stood out to us. There are a lot of games that stood out, but like these are the
Yeah,
ones that I think we have enough time to talk about. The first one is Starfield. Everybody
the
kind of saw
biggest
this
game.
coming. This is
It's
the biggest
huge.
game. This is what everybody's been waiting. Like people would have been happy if it was like an Xbox and Starfield showcase, but we wouldn't
Yeah,
all get all the other like 30 announcements, but they showed quite a lot of the game.
yeah. It was like I think a 15-minute game trailer or something. Like they had a huge focus at
They
the end
had
of the
yeah,
show.
so yeah, it was an extended gameplay sort of trailer reveal that they had. The game early on starts off with you arriving in this moon called Crete,
Yeah,
and they show you like you're exploring the terrain and you harvest, I think, iron from like some cave walls, similar to. So before we go into this, there's a lot of like similarities to No Man's Sky.
definitely.
It's very
Yeah,
obvious.
it's
As soon as I
obvious
saw
in
the
the
harvesting
internet.
thing, I'm like, No Man's Sky, god damn it.
Yeah,
Not that it's like it's a bad thing, but like I don't like the fact that people will automatically start comparing it to another game like that, because I think they're
it's
gonna be
normal.
different.
It was trending on Twitter. Like the
It
moment this game
was
came out, this everyone was like No Man's Sky.
No
Oh,
Man's
it's like
Sky,
whatever.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. But then unlike No Man's Sky, or at least when it first came out, there's like a story there. There's a campaign mode, and in the video, you infiltrate a research facility and you start like killing off enemies. And I
yeah.
think like they showed off 4 or 5 guns that were equipped.
And one
So they
gun you
showed a
had to
lot.
like do a digital lock pick to get as well. Like they showed off that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, so they have some of these elements as well, where you have to like lock the pick and then get the gun. There might be other puzzle elements. Like there's definitely going to be something else, like small things like that, kind of like
Mm.
how Cyberpunk had it,
Yeah,
like the
Cyberpunk
hacking
and
stuff and whatnot.
Yeah, and old school and Skyrim they had like lock picking
Oh
skills as
yeah,
well.
that's
So it's
right.
like that's in their
Yeah,
DNA as well.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
And then
It's
they
Skyrim in
talked about
space. Let's like get that out there.
Skyrim in
It's
space.
Skyrim in
I think
space.
somebody did mention that as well. It's like
Yeah,
Skyrim in space.
exactly.
They elaborate a little bit more with the story of at least the campaign mode or like the main sort of story of the game. You'll be invited after like you finish with this infiltration that you do. You'll be invited by a group called the Constellation. They are the last group of space explorers left, and they want your help to solve a puzzle of some kind. Like they're like these artifacts that they don't know what they are and what they're building. They're apparently like being built or something like that, and they want your help to kind of like figure out this puzzle about these artifacts
Hmm.
and what else is out there in space. It reminded me like that. Just that bit reminded me a little bit of the Halo TV show. There's
Oh,
this like
the
this
artifact.
mysterious artifact and aliens and whatnot. Yeah,
I just
they
wanted to
showed
quickly
off. Yeah.
say like this: the artifact mystery thing is an overplayed thing in space. I
Oh,
don't
it
know
is.
why.
No, no, it is. It is. Like
It's not something new. It's like, oh, okay, space
no, no,
artifact.
it definitely isn't. But like, hey, Halo, which is also a Microsoft thing, like this TV
Yeah,
show, just came out like a couple of months ago, so like it was
recently,
still
yeah.
kind of fresh in my mind. But yeah, mysterious artifacts is a trope. Like it's a normal thing with these kind of like with this kind of setting. So they showed off different locations. They showed off the different characters that you're gonna meet. Again, this is like a full on like a legit sort of like first person. What's the word that I'm looking for? Campaign driven like game,
Oh,
but you
yeah.
also have the option to like explore and do all that other stuff. They showed what you can do with the character customization, and it's very flexible, at least to
It
my
looks,
eyes.
yeah, it looks quite flexible from what they've shown off. I think this is also I wouldn't say a standard, but like it's like even since Mass Effect, like you can fully customize your character like into detail. Like this, they've just taken it a step further, which is
Yeah,
nice
yeah,
to
yeah.
see.
I mean, Cyberpunk had an insane character customization option as well. I
Yeah,
spent 30, 40
it's
minutes
like
on it. But I like that how in this one they included different body types, like a heavy body type. They also included different walk styles. I didn't see that before, like a different walking style,
that's
like
actually
you're
new.
right.
Yeah, that's pretty new.
And then you also have 17 different backgrounds they can give the character. Some of them are kind of like funny. So you can be a bounty hunter, which is like whatever. You can be a bouncer or a gangster.
Mhm.
And there's like a bunch of other stuff like medical student or something or
Yeah,
researcher.
this is
And
the
then
RPG element of it. Yeah,
this
the
is like
hardcore.
very like, heavily RPG elements, yeah. And then you also have three starting traits. Like no, not yeah. You have sorry. They give you
Skills.
three skills. My bad.
Yeah,
I'm reading the notes and I messed up.
no, that's
So
fine. That's fine.
these backgrounds also give you three skills, and then you also have optionally you can also add traits to your character if you're
This is the fine
introverted,
part.
if you have alien DNA, or if a neon street rat
That was
trait. I
random.
don't.
That's
That
a
was
random
very
one.
so. I like that. Like I like that they weren't picking or like they're providing you with like the regular sort of like typical things that you come to see from any RPG game. Because one of them like there was like a Ronin thing as well, which like exists right in one
Mhm.
form or another. It exists in other like RPG games, but like these random, very weird things, and of course because it's got this RPG element to it, you can unlock skills as you level up, and then you can rank them, and the more challenges you complete with those skills, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
standard stuff, but like it's good to see. Like it's those game
yeah,
hooks that keep you going.
they showed it off, and it seems to be very extensive. There's of course a crafting system where you can like create mods or create your own weapons. You can also like do some research, get the resources and whatnot. And the extended showcase, I think somebody was talking about how if you don't want to pay for a weapon, you could just like make it.
That yeah, I heard that also in the extended showcase. So you have the choice of making it yourself, or instead of
Oh,
skipping the crafting part or like the
yeah,
gathering part, you can just pay for it if you have the
you
money.
can
Which
pay for it. So
I feel like it's good. It's like giving people that option because like
you
I'm
know
not
how I
heavy
feel
on
about
gathering.
options.
Yeah, it's good to have options, but
Yeah,
personally for me,
yeah.
I'm not a gatherer. Like I
Mm.
don't like the gathering part of most of these games, like in Minecraft or something. Like that to me it's too
I'm
tedious.
like you. I don't like maybe I haven't like properly played something that had like a crafting system, but to me it just feels kind of weird. I don't want to play a game and like do a lot of the crafting stuff for it.
You want someone
But
else
I
to do
don't.
it for you, so you pay for it. Like
Yeah,
it makes
sure.
sense.
Yeah. I mean, the most that I'll do is that I'll grind for an item. Like Borderlands, like that's what I
That
half
stuff.
half of
Yeah,
what I did. Yeah, like but that's like trying to find one item. I'm not trying to find like this much of this resource and that much of that resource and whatever, and then do that mental math.
yeah.
And yeah, I
I,
don't want to do
I've,
that.
and I feel like this plays into the next point where they have building your own outposts and for survival and resource generation.
Yes, exactly.
So
Yeah.
you can hire people. They say you can hire characters to maintain it, which is kind of cool. So if you have like multiple outposts on different planets, then you
Hmm,
kind of have this like massive resource gathering uh,
that's true.
company, I guess. Like you have your own company. It's
I
just
mean,
like
it's your base really.
yeah,
I don't know how that plays out. Like, are these people also another like resource? So the more people you have, the more efficient you are and whatever. But then you have to like either like buy them or like pay them. Like I don't know how that
Mhm.
works. Like the economy of that whole thing works, but it is something I guess that will tickle some people's
Yeah. Then you can have a
senses. Yeah.
proper flight crew, or like because you can also hire them for your own spaceship as well.
Your spaceship, I think this is going to be a huge deal.
Yeah.
That I kind of like how with Cyberpunk, a lot of people like spent so much time just customizing the character, right?
Me too.
I
Yeah,
think,
everyone did.
yeah, everybody did. Yeah, but it was a thing, like just how much like that you can do with a spaceship. Apparently, that takes it up like 1,000 times
Yeah.
because you can customize the ship in any way that you want. You can get modules, you can buy them, you can like get them in as rewards if I'm not mistaken. You can uh customize obviously the paint job and all that sort of stuff. There's like a lot that they showed in what you could do with the spaceship, and I
Yeah.
think that's gonna like be a fun like mini game almost for a lot of people.
Speaking of fun minigame, I want to see if you can build the most bonkers, crazy, weirdest ship you can. Like, like put like a thousand thrusters with like a little tiny cockpit and just like I want to know how
I th-
crazy you can
I
go with
think
it.
you're on
You
to something. I think this might be like if especially if there's like a sandbox mode or whatever, kind of like a level maker,
Mm,
where instead of you having to like work with what you have, like the items and the modules and the upgrades and whatnot that you found in the game, if they can kind of like have a mode where everything that's available in the game is available for you to use,
yeah.
but it's only in this like sandbox mode, like only there, and you can't like import it or take it,
At
export it
least
or
you can
like
go
take it.
crazy with it. Yeah.
You can go crazy, and then people can like start showing off their like crazy mods and
Exactly.
the crazy
Exactly.
ideas. Like you said, one tiny cockpit, 1,000 thrusters. Why
Yeah.
not?
Just like speed through
Yeah.
space. Why not?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like being on cocaine. Um, but I think this is gonna be something that a lot of people will have a lot of fun, like just kind of like play around with. And like you mentioned, you can hire the crew to maintain it as well.
Yeah.
That is something that I think is also a little bit sort of like more than what we've seen in other games, where you might have your own ship, but then it's just you piloting it, and then that's it. You might have a
Yeah.
pet or whatever, but there's no element of you
Crew.
having your
Yeah.
own team, your own crew. I wonder if like how well like it's integrated, where depending on who you would hire, the efficiency might be different. The
Yeah.
like like it's not like as long as you have X number of people, this is what you'll get out of it. But no, it depends on who those
Yeah, I
people are as
guess.
well.
Well, for me, the because I play Mass Effect is a close second from this game.
Hmm.
Like I'm gonna compare it to Mass Effect because I played
Go
it.
ahead.
You have a crew, like, but like it's part of the story, and then like
Hmm,
you
hmm.
can recruit people, or you can like, I think you can miss out on some characters, so it changes who's in your ship and who you can interact with. So it's only in
Yeah.
that way.
It's like building a party in an RPG game
Yeah,
or a JRPG. Yeah, exactly. You get people to join your party, and then yeah. So I don't know if it's that restricted in Starfield, or if it's a lot more open and free, and there are
yeah,
options with what you can do, and they actually like affect or change things. We'll have to wait and see.
yeah. Can't wait for that. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
They also showed off like a dogfight in space to just kind of show you what the battle system will be like in space. It looked cool, but
Yeah.
the big thing about space here, and there's some controversy about this, Fatty. So let's maybe get into that. Is that they
Go for
announced
it. I
that,
was gonna get into it
and
myself.
I
Yeah.
want you to tell me what you saw because like you just told me about it before we recorded, like we started recording this episode. But they announced that you can land and explore anywhere on any of the over 1,000 planets in the over 100 systems.
Yeah.
So that's you have 1,000 plus planets. I'm assuming at launch, and you can land anywhere on each of these planets and then start your exploration. So what's
Yeah.
the problem with that?
what the Twitter sphere or the everyone got into is the problem that we've been here before, especially with No Man's Sky. They're like, yeah, quintillion planets, I don't know what. And then when you go to those planets, there's going to be nothing to do. And that's what people are worried about, that there's going to be so many planets, so much to see and do that they're worried that there's not going to be enough content or not much to do on those planets. So this is the main concern that everyone had. And then the debate started going. So what do you think about that personally?
I I disagree with all of those people. I mean, not in the sense that there might be nothing to do. I'm not saying that over 1,000 planets will have like things for you to do, and but I'm talking about as a game overall. I don't think it's gonna fail the way No Man's Sky did in the beginning when it first launched, before they did the overhaul that they did. Because there's a campaign mode. It's an RPG. You've got a character. You've got like this progression of the character that you have. You got missions. You've got quests. You've got so it does have the No Man's Sky element to it: exploration, gathering resources, building up your outpost, and doing all that sort of stuff. But then there's also this campaign mode, and it's really up to you to decide on how you want to play the game. And this is something that they also touched upon in the extended showcase. They're like, we're providing everybody with the tools that they want. We're providing them with this world, the experiences. You play the game the way you want to play the game. Do you want to go straight to the side quests, or do you want to go start exploring? Do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Obviously, some things will be restricted. There might be some sort of criteria that you need to fulfill before you can do whatever, like unlock a certain area and
Right.
whatnot. But there is a campaign mode. There are things that you can do other than just exploring in the game, and I think a lot of people will gravitate towards that. And
Yeah.
then if they don't like the campaign mode and they don't like the exploration thing, then okay, it's not for them. The
Yeah.
game,
Exactly.
in that case, it has failed them. But that's just like any other game that somebody might check out and they don't like it. And then, okay, it's just not for them. But I don't think that the game is built in a way that's going to guarantee the level of failure that the Tritosphere is making it seem to be.
Well, yeah. So they already addressed that you said, and I don't find it as a problem because they also mentioned that they've handcrafted a lot of the experience. So I don't. They didn't specifically say just the campaign. So I feel like that
Yeah.
also spread to other side
I
quests
would
or
hope
other
so.
planets. So I'm not personally worried about that. What did also come up that they didn't explain, or I saw later in an interview, is that how the ships transition between the planets, like
Hmm.
when you're flying in and then you go into the planet. They actually said early on they decided not to have that transition, or like not to
Oh.
have that seamless transition,
Yeah,
because
yeah, yeah.
he said it's like too much engineering for something that would ruin the experience or would lessen the experience
Okay.
for them.
All
So
right.
pretty much it's going to be a loading screen like before you go in, like to the planet, and then when you leave the planet, it's also like there will be a loading
Like a
screen.
cut kind of
Yeah.
thing.
So
Okay.
this is they already addressed that. Some people, I guess, address their concern, but like I don't think that's a big issue in terms of the bigger scope of the game.
Yeah,
But
it really
again,
isn't.
you're
Yeah.
gonna hear all sides of the story online as usual.
I mean, there's one thing that I'll kind of give the Twitter sphere, or the people that are hating on this game, is that we heard those promises from No Man's Sky.
Before, right?
Yeah, like I'm talking like about when it first launched, like or like pre-launch, like when it was a crowdsourcing thing, crowdfunding thing.
Yeah,
Um, Apparently, what I remember like reading about is that they showed so many like interesting planets and alien life forms and whatnot, and like so apparently they kind of like cherry picked the good planets to show in the trailer. But then because there's like a gazillion planets out there, you're left with nothing for the other ones that most people will probably like land on and find in their
yeah,
travels. So I understand that level of mistrust, but if Starfield was just an exploration thing, I would be on that side. I'd be like, I'd rather wait and see when the game comes out before I fall into any kind of hype or
mm,
like even talk about it or whatever. But because it's not just that, I'm willing to kind of give them the benefit of the doubt that if they've done their jobs, it's at least an interesting game. At the
yeah.
very least, it's an interesting game.
And they have had previous games. This is not their first game. We
Yeah,
know
yeah, of
Bethesda,
course.
so I don't
Yeah,
think they're
yeah,
gonna ruin it that much. But
yeah.
I
Is
know
it is
this.
it buggy? I don't
I
know.
was just about to say, yeah, it's
It's
definitely
like
gonna be buggy, 100%. It's their
that's
game.
something else to look forward to. Exactly. I mean, they talked about why they delayed this game and they delayed Redfall is because they wanted to make sure that it comes out complete.
As much as they
So,
can, yeah.
yeah, exactly, as much as they can. So at least they did address that sort of concern, and that they're internally are aware of it, and they don't want to like fall into what happened with Cyberpunk
Mm.
and CD Projekt Red. We'll have to wait and see. It's coming out in 2023 on Xbox consoles, Game Pass Day One, obviously, and
I'm
on Steam.
excited for this game personally.
Me
I
too.
am.
Me
I
too.
am excited.
I don't know if I'll pick it up, but I will definitely watch like people who play it on Twitch. I want to like at the very least start doing that before I decide to pick it up day one, just to see what it really is like when people are
Yeah.
playing it, and the bugs and whatnot. So
Hmm.
yeah. Um, Speaking of bugs, it kind of works, I guess. There's definitely bugs in this game.
Wow, that was a
Diablo. That
tough
was a tough
segue.
one. That was
That
a
was a
very
tough
tough segue.
segue.
I apologize. Diablo 4.
Yeah, Diablo 4.
Yeah.
That's another big one on our
There's a bug in the
collective
there's a
list.
bug in the company behind Diablo 4. Let's go with that.
Okay.
They're buggy as hell.
Okay.
They
Sure.
crash and burn and yeah, okay, let's go with that.
Okay.
Diablo 4, they had a cinematic trailer for the fifth and last class, the
The
Necromancer.
Necromancer. Yeah, that's
What
cool.
do you think of the Necromancer?
I think it's a cool class as usual. I like it's their pet class. You know, you do summon monsters and then they fight alongside you. I'm pretty sure I played that in Diablo 3, or they had a similar class in Diablo 3, if I'm not mistaken. Or at the very least, it was Path of Exile. I remember there was a Necromancer job, which I played for a bit. And like I do enjoy that class. So to me, that's the class I would pick. Uh, if and when I play Diablo 4.
Yeah.
uh, but otherwise, the game looks actually pretty good. Like they announced it alongside the four other classes. So there was Barbarian, Druid, Rogue, and Sorcerer. So they're very basic in terms of the class,
Yeah.
and the fifth one, Necromancer. Um, and it's all about and Rod Ferguson. He opened up the show, and he's the GM of the Diablo franchise, which is again nice to see, like devs or the people behind the games.
Mm.
And it's all about the demon Lilith has returned and must be stopped, and she's the antagonist from Diablo 2. So there's a bit of history there for some of the longtime players. I only
Yeah.
started Diablo from 3 personally because Diablo 3 is a game for me that where me and my friends would sit in the same room, we'd get all our PCs together and like just play together. So that's my
LAN
experience with
parties for
Diablo.
the win.
Yeah, and I'm hoping I can do that with the fourth one. Fingers crossed, guys. Hopefully.
Mm.
Um, and the gameplay was shown on an Xbox Series X, which I found interesting. So everything that was shown was on Xbox Series X. Um, and other than that, like when Diablo 4 was first announced, I wasn't too hyped about the game. I was like, okay, it's another game. But what sets this apart compared to the other Diablos is that it's an open world game with no linear
Yep.
path.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting as a concept because it's open world. There's apparently over 150 dungeons. And so you can play the game pretty much however you like. And so, and also, I think they were talking about like, while since it's an open world game, it's also an online persistent game. So you'd be able to see other people on their travels, or like while you're playing, you see other players, and then you can team up with them, I guess, and do a dungeon. That's how some of the people experiences were
Yeah,
in the
so you're
trailer was
talking about
saying.
the local events. They talked about like having local events that will just pop up in this open world,
Yeah,
and you can participate or solo, or you can go in with a group, kind of similar to what's I forgot what they called in Destiny 2, but they have they have the same idea.
yeah.
What very few
Those
hours that I played the game had
world
that as
events
well. Yeah,
or something like, I guess they
yeah,
say
yeah.
local events, but like they're world connected online events, similar to
Mm.
MMOs, similar to
Oh
MMOs.
yeah, yeah. I think yeah. Like I don't think they meant local as in like local to your network. I think they meant like local to wherever the location is that you're in. Maybe
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
what's behind the thing, the terminology there. They also showed off strongholds. Speaking of dungeons, so there are strongholds, which is basically enemy territories that you have to take down. What I like about that is that after you clear that area, with time that place will just kind of become a peaceful town, or
That's
that might
cool. Yeah.
reveal more dungeons. Like there might be a dungeon like afterwards, or like hidden in the stronghold. So that's also it's kind of like an incentive to keep like going to these
Clear. Yeah.
strongholds and clearing them because you would want to go to the dungeons and get the loot. And this game
Mm.
basically is an MMO now.
That's what I thought. Like it's they're not saying MMO, but like
No,
most of
they
the
haven't.
things,
Yeah.
they really stayed away from that word. But like it is becoming an MMO. It's a persistent connection. You interact with players. You have local or world events that you can team up and play with, and then you can party with them and then go do a dungeon together. Like it's that kind of game now.
They to that point where like they didn't really say MMO. They also like were very specific. They could still do PvP in specific areas. So like there's a
That's
PvP
right.
element in
That's
the
right.
game as well. And if you're really good, I don't know if you, yeah, I think if you're really good just in the PvP sort of like fights or the PvP sort of battles, you will be marked on the map as a champion. So that will draw people towards you because I'm assuming XP and loot and whatnot.
Rewards.
If you,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So that's also a nice element to it. There was an indie game that we talked about on the Gaming Weekly show, like it was a side scroller thing, and I think it had something similar as well, where people will try to find like it was a PvP game, like that's what it
Hmm.
was. But anyways, one more thing. I think there was something about the game. Oh yeah,
The
uh,
cross play, cross progression,
yes,
and couch co-op, which we love. Again,
which we
options.
love exactly. Yeah, so consoles and PC, whatever. It's cross everything,
Yeah.
and it's coming out in 2023 on PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X.
And one last thing, that there is a bit of open beta that's going to happen.
Oh,
It's
okay.
open for registration right now on their
Oh,
website.
okay. Yeah, that.
They didn't say, or I haven't seen when it's going to start, but obviously, if you're a fan, go register. You might be able to play the
Definitely.
game
Look, yeah,
before it
yeah.
starts. Yeah.
It's gonna be a game changer. Hopefully, this is gonna redeem them after Diablo Immortal.
After
I don't think it
Diablo,
will, but it's gonna be like
hopefully,
the
hopefully.
first step into them redeeming themselves if this is a good project. Oh, so coming up
Speaking of
next, good
speaking of good
projects.
projects,
Yeah,
that's how you do a segue, Tim. No.
that's how I do a segue. Thank you. Don't forget that I'm the one who taught you how to do segues.
I learned
High
from
on
you.
Life.
Yeah,
Thank you. High on Life is the next game, which is wow. It's a weird one, but like in a very good way. It's by
it's a
Squanch
good weird.
Games.
It is good
It's a
weird. Yeah.
very good weird. As soon as you hear the game, you'll know why it's a good weird. So this was a world premiere, and it's a console launch exclusive. There were a few world premieres and console launch exclusives in the show. This is one of them. It's from the creators of Rick and Morty,
That's
and the
huge.
protagonist is voiced by the same voice actor as Morty.
I picked
Morty's
that
the
up. Yeah.
little kid. Yeah, exactly. It's very obvious. I was lazy. I didn't really look into what the name of the voice actor what is.
He's known as Morty. Just we know him
Morty.
as
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I should give him credit. But not only is it voiced by Morty, and not only is it created by the guys behind Rick and Morty, everything about this game is Rick and Morty. Like it's an
Yeah.
episode of Rick and Morty that was turned into a game, basically. So it's a first-person shooter, and the weapons are these creatures. They get into that actually later in the extended showcase. There are these creatures that can talk. It's an alien race. They can talk, and with time, they evolve to kind of like look like a gun. And what the game is about, which wasn't clear in the main showcase, but it was in the extent, like they talked about in the extended showcase. The game is about this alien race that want to enslave humans and sell them as drugs. It's an
That
alien cartel,
it's
basically.
such an interesting concept, by the way.
It's
Already.
a Rick and Morty concept, and that's why the game is called High on Life.
Yeah.
They're playing,
And
yeah.
the voice actor Morty is Maurice LaMarche or Marche. There you go.
Thank you for looking that up.
Yeah.
He did an amazing job. That voice is so recognizable. So yeah, everything about it, from the way the game looks, the enemies, like the weirdness and like the creativity behind the weirdness of the enemies and the gear and whatnot, just kind of looks like a Rick and Morty show that was done in 3D,
Pretty much,
right?
yeah.
But
That's a
like with
good
a
way to
little like,
describe it.
and
Yeah.
it's not like a realistic textures, but like just a little tad bit, like better lighting and reflection and whatnot. Like just like it's that really. Like if you see the trailer, like you'll know what we're talking about. So yeah, it's coming out on Xbox consoles, PC, Game Pass, day one, and Xbox Cloud Gaming. I just want to go through just some really quick notes from the extended showcase. They
Please.
describe it as an action adventure comedy Metroidvania first person shooter.
That Metroidvania like caught
Metroidvania is what
my
like
ear. I
yeah,
was like,
that raised so many
yeah, cool.
flags. I'm like that's a very good thing to kind of like tag to your game.
Hmm.
So we'll have to wait and see what the Metroidvania aspect of it is. The CEO and founder of Squanch Games, Justin Roiland, is also the co-creator of the Rick and Morty. So this wasn't something that they kind of like gave off to a different studio and like somebody else like no, it's kind of like a personal project of his. He created Squanch Games because he was always interested in creating games and he had ideas and whatnot, but he didn't have the know-how. So he wanted to basically have his own studio so he can kind of like have his creative juices flowing and
Yeah.
just create games that he wants to play.
So cool. So
And
cool that
yeah,
he was able to do it as well. Like, nice.
it's like it's something that every one of us wanted to do, right? Like everybody has ideas, everybody has a creative vision or something, right? But then you don't have the means to do it. He has the resources to get people to do what they want to do. The art direction, I thought this was very funny, is Blade meets the Muppets.
Yeah, which I didn't think about until he said it. I'm like,
Until they
really?
brought it
Okay.
up.
Like
Exactly.
Muppets, I
Yeah.
can see. Blade Runner, okay. Maybe
Blade,
there's
yeah.
some
No, not
cyberpunk.
Blade Runner. I think he meant Blade as in Blade, the Marvel character, the vampire hunter.
Oh,
I
that
believe that's
Blade.
what he meant. I think so, yeah.
Ah, okay.
Maybe Blade Runner, I don't know. But anyways, check it out. It looks really good. October 2022, maybe the 22nd, who knows. The game's gonna be out. So yeah, let's go on to the next one. It's also very interesting and it has a nice concept.
This one I personally liked. It's called Urban Shadow Legacy by Baby Robot Games. So this game, what caught my eye is like you are like this ninja assassin, like a robot lady that can like go into the shadows, then pop out of the shadows, and like you have to stealth kill all these robots. And it was also a world premiere console launch exclusive, like another one of these games, and it's an action adventure stealth platformer kind of game. And the moment I saw this game, I was like, this reminds me of Soul Reaver and like Tenshu, if anyone remembers the PS1 like stealth ninja game that you go around like stealth kill everyone. Like it reminded me of that game, just like much better. And the main protagonist, her name is Ayana, who has this shadow merge ability that I just spoke about, and that allows her to pretty much traverse walls and like other terrains. And I'm liking this shadow traversing kind of games or whatever. Like
They are the devs. What was the name of that game?
Shiem,
She,
Schim, Shiem.
yes, yeah, yeah.
But that was like
Um,
a fun concept. That's like a fun chill game
in
to
this
go through.
game, you're destroying robots. You're being stealthy for a reason, and
Yeah.
the way that they implement it in the game looks like it's going to be a fun element. It's not like a press this button and then press it again and you're in and out, but
Mm.
it's dynamic a little bit. Like you
Yeah.
have to time it right, and it looks like a really fun game. Also aesthetically, like I like the art direction there. I think this will do good. I hope it does, but like it looks like it's a fun game to play.
It caught my eye just because of like the stealth aspect of it. You don't get that many of these games anymore. Or that's
Yeah.
what I've seen anyway.
It's coming out 2023 for Xbox, PC, and Xbox Cloud Gaming. And it'll be day one. It'll be
Day one.
on Game Pass day one. Yeah,
Whenever that is. 2023, man. So many games
2023.
already.
Like, hey, listen, 50 games in 12 months.
Yeah.
It's gonna be spread around. We're talking about an average of what? How many games a month?
A month? I don't know. Like they just pretty much put like on the end graphics of the show. It's just like
Yeah.
2022, 2023, and I think it's one, two, three, four,
I was testing you. That's an average of
Okay,
4
fine.
games a month.
4 games a month. Thanks, Tim. Math. Even though I'm first thing in the morning, still it's an issue for me.
It's still an issue. Yeah. The next game, Cocoon.
We
It's
both
interesting.
like this. We
Yes.
both like this game.
Yeah. Like right off the top, I'm gonna say it reminded me of Maquette.
Yeah, it
The
does.
this
It's
that
similar.
Inception-esque kind of game. So this was also a world premiere and console launch exclusive. Okay, good to see those. It's a puzzle adventure game where there are the worlds inside of worlds. So
It's very
do you want to
surreal.
like
Yeah.
talk about this concept? Like
I don't
you
know
have to
what.
like yeah,
Like
go on.
so pretty much you're this bug. Okay, so first of all you're this bug creature tasked with carrying orbs and solving puzzles within them, and then
Yeah.
like So it shows in the trailer. Again, I want to know more. There's not enough info, even post show, whatever. There wasn't enough
Yeah.
info. But so you're like this little bug, and then you carry these orbs with you. And then once you solve the puzzle, you pretty much enter the orb, and it's another world or another puzzle of worlds.
Yeah,
So
so each orb is part of the puzzle that you're trying to solve, and then once you solve it, once you
you
unlock
go
whatever,
inside.
you go
Yeah.
inside that particular like orb that you're carrying around the whole time, and then there's another puzzle they have to do,
World.
and you keep
Yeah.
going inside. So it's kind of like a fractal thing where, like,
I guess so. Yeah.
it's a
Multiverse
very
or
interesting
whatever.
idea. Yeah, well, and this is again like this is what made me think of Maquette because with Maquette, like you have these puzzle pieces, and if you carry them into like if you go through a door where I forgot how the game plays exactly, but if you go through a certain door, then you're carrying a puzzle piece that was from the big world, it now
Mm.
becomes normal size or something like that. It was a very mind bendy puzzle game and try to figure out how the same piece in three different sizes.
Yeah.
I'm not doing the game any
Cool.
justice, but
Anyway, it's so cool.
but it had that like mind bendy thing as well. Yeah.
So what's also mind bending that this game is made by Jeppe Carlsen, who's the lead gameplay designer of Inside and Limbo, if you know those games. So it's a big departure if you know Inside and Limbo. They're both like 2D
Yeah,
platformers and
I
and
know
they have
Limbo, but I
design
don't know, or maybe I don't like
Inside.
remember Inside, but I know Limbo. Yeah, like
Yeah.
the platformer. Yeah.
Limbo was like black and white. Inside had color. It was about this kid trying to escape. Um, I didn't play it, but I did watch a let's play on it. So
Mm.
those were 2D games. This is like a full 3D game, so it's a big departure and puzzle focus. So it's a completely different game,
It's
but
a
it
completely
looks
different thing. Yeah, it
looks
looks really
beautiful.
good.
Yeah, it looks
It
really,
does.
really
It
good.
does.
Uh,
Coming out
when it's coming, yeah.
2023. Xbox on Xbox consoles. Like, it's coming out. It's coming out in 2023. I don't know why I can't go through the sentence. It's coming out in 2023 for Xbox consoles, PC, and cloud gaming, and it's also going to be a day one a Game Pass title, which
Yeah.
is great.
I'm
This is
personally
also
looking
another
forward to it.
game that would be great for day one titles. Like it's a really solid looking, polished indie game, right?
Mm,
Like it's not a AAA thing or whatnot. This is where the value of Game Pass is
comes in,
also can
yeah.
be found. Yeah, like with these indie games that you typically wouldn't really like care about.
I do personally, but like, yeah,
No, I mean
like this, I would buy it.
I'm
In
talking about like the
general, in
people
general.
who
Yeah.
only want Game Pass for the AAA titles. Like where are the AAA titles? Where's like the big names? Oh, I haven't heard of any of these games. Well, yeah, so you can explore them and discover them.
Mm,
It doesn't always have to be
that's
the
true.
best and whatever the
That,
biggest.
that's the appeal of Game Pass. It gets you playing games that you don't usually play.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't played any, but that's because I'm a bad gamer. But besides the point,
And you have an active subscription still, right? You
I
do.
do, I do. I played Halo for a bit,
Okay.
and then that's it. Yeah, I
Play
don't
more
know.
games then. Play more
I
games. Come
should,
on.
I should, I should. I'm with you. I'm accepting it. I'm owning it. You want to go through like honorable mentions?
Let's go through some honorable mentions. Yeah.
So there's one in particular that I want to point out, just because they did a bad job of presenting it in the main show, and then they did a much better job, and like there were like core elements that were missing in the main show that was there in the extended show, and I'm talking about As Dusk Falls. I'm going to be looking at my notes here, so no camera contact. So As Dusk Falls is an interactive experience where like visually it looks interesting because it's a motion graphic type of thing.
Mm.
There's like no animation, there's no whatever. It's just kind of like if you've seen any of these like motion graphic titles, motion comics I think is the real world that I should be using. But yeah, so it's a deep interactive experience that all levels of players can play. And when they mentioned that in the main show, I didn't really get what they meant because I thought it was like a mystery drama type of game, and it's about family resilience and sacrifice. And it's written to be like a TV show.
That's that's
The
what I
writing
like too.
there is
Yeah.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So it's written to be like a TV show, and it's one of those like pick your own adventure games. You've got so many different storylines. Each action you make will affect the story in a way. The dialogue is going to change. The characters are going to like behave differently. We've seen that concept before. Nothing
Telltale
special
games.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The story seems to be about like these two families and a robbery that went wrong, and they find themselves in trouble somehow or another. And then they ended the show, like in the main showcase, saying that it's playable, solo, or up to 8 players.
So this is where the game lost me, and I'm like, "What? I don't care
Yes.
for this game. Like, how do you play with 8 players? This is not gonna work." I pushed this aside. Whereas you were like,
Yes.
"No, this is cool. Let's
Yeah, I
dig a
wanted to
little
talk.
deeper."
Yeah, exactly. I wanted to talk about it in the very beginning, just based off the idea that it visually it looked like different. It looked nice, not like amazing, but it just looked nice. And then the idea that you could play up to 8 players. You like raised the question is like, how can 8 players play a story-driven game? Like it just doesn't make sense. And it looks like this is very heavily focused on the story, like the game like the story is a big part of the game and how well it's told and how well it's written. So I went to the website, I went to the FAQs, and that's when I discovered that 8 people can play together on the console or PC, I think, and on a mobile phone. And it's actually a party game
Like,
because
what do you call it? Jack in the
Jack
Box.
Jack in the Box, kind of,
Yeah.
yeah. Because when multiple people play the game together, they all get to vote on what the next action should be, on what choice the main character should make,
Yeah.
and you can like override other people's decisions if you're like disagreeing with everybody. So that really set the game apart. And then I really wanted to like just quickly talk about it because I thought that was really cool. And another cool aspect about it that was in the FAQs is that because it's heavily dependent on people making like voting on a choice, there's a broadcast mode where you can connect it to Twitch, and then people like in chat
It's
will
perfect for Twitch.
vote.
Yeah.
It's perfect for Twitch. Yeah, you as the streamer can still do whatever you want, but at least you have the option of keeping the keeping your audience engaged and
Yeah.
like voting on the choices and whatnot.
And for me, if they had that in the main show, I would have been way more
Yes.
interested from the very beginning. But
Exactly. I don't
I
know
missed
why
out.
they just showed like they focus so much on the story of the game and not really on the gameplay behind it, other than you could play up to 8 people and that's it. At the beginning, I thought I missed something, but then you also like didn't like catch that. Like you like it really wasn't in the main showcase. I
Yeah.
think they made a big mistake because I don't know how many people that watch the main showcase would watch the extended showcase. We did because we wanted to do this episode, but I don't know how many people generally would do that. And if they missed out on that tiny detail, that is such an important detail about the game, they might have like completely dismissed the game altogether
Like
and
I did.
not care about it in the future. Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Like I
I'm
did.
glad that I got to like kind of like try to convince you about it. And I went to the website because now you're aware of this, and I think this is something that you could play with your family. It's like
Yeah.
that escape room game that you talked about in your last episode.
Such a. By the way, I played that game. Sorry. Side note.
Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
Now it's Next Fest on Steam. So there's a lot of demos, and one of the demos was Escape Room, and I downloaded, played it, finished it. I really like it.
It
I think
looks
it's a
really fun.
Escape Room Adventure or Academy. Sorry, Escape Room
It's
Academy.
Escape Academy. Escape
Yeah,
Academy is
very
yeah.
very good game. Well done game. I really like it, and I think I might pick it up day one. It's that good.
Awesome.
Um,
And I hope that this is also something similar in that regard where it's engaging enough for whoever's playing the game, whether it's friends and families. And they also in the extended showcase, I think it was the creative director of the game. She said that she drew inspiration from shows like Breaking Bad and Fargo. If
yeah.
that's her inspiration, especially like the first season of Fargo, then they're off to a good start. If they're able to pull from that and actually deliver,
Mm.
that's really good. And because it's like it doesn't require to be using your like gaming skills. It really relies on your life skills because
Yeah,
the
and I think
decisions
they
that you
said
make and yeah.
it's. She said in the interview or in the extended, it's based on a person or what kind of person you are. The game,
Yes.
and it's something
Oh,
that they want everyone to play with. Yeah.
yeah. They also mentioned that they will show you a breakdown of your character traits based on the choices that you've made, which I thought was also like a cool aspect to the game.
Yeah, that is cool.
Are you like introverted? Are you so and so? Are you confrontational? Stuff like that, I believe. So that's a cool thing to kind of like keep at the end of each. I don't know if it's at the end of each level or chapter or at the end of the game itself, but something to also look forward to.
So
Uh,
next on the list, another honorable mention is Riot Games. I know this is going to be quick. It's pretty much all the Riot games are coming to PC and mobile, right? Or Game Pass
yes.
PC and mobile,
Game
is
Pass
it?
on PC and Game Pass on
On
mobile.
mobile.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty much everything is a lot. What's the perk is that everything will be unlocked. So every champion on Leagues of Legends and Wild Rift All Ages on Valorant will be available on PC. The Foundation set in Legends of Runeterra, which I don't know what that game is.
I never
Uh,
heard of it. Yeah.
yeah, and then Little Legends. What is that? In Teamfight Tactics on PC and mobile, and there will be
Yeah.
a XP boost as well. So you get all the perks for a paid version, right? The paid version of the game. Isn't that what it is? Or like the DLCs, not DLCs, what do you call them? The microtransactions. Isn't that what it
Yeah.
is?
I think XP boost is I think what they mean here is that you'll get an XP boost in the games if you play them through Game Pass.
Oh, okay.
I believe that's what they meant. But yeah, so it's really only Valorant and League of Legends that will be like fully unlocked
That's huge.
completely.
Yeah.
With the other games, like with what's this?
Runeterra.
Runeterra, yeah, with Runeterra, you get like a foundation set. It's a card-based game. You get a foundation set, and then I don't know what little legends are, but you get like select little legends will be available for you in Teamfight Tactics. If you know these games, you might know what we're talking about. But I think that's a big move that like Riot is joining the Game Pass sort of army and providing these games or like these sort of like items or starter kits or whatever they may be. It also could pave the way for other developers, like other big developers that have like big franchises, to kind of like join the bandwagon. Wait, hold on. We don't have to like think of anything.
What?
Fortnite.
Oh,
You can
yeah.
so Xbox announced, like Microsoft announced a while back, like just actually not a while back, like I think a week ago, that they want you to be able to play games that are not even Game Pass titles.
Okay,
And
that's
Fortnite,
why.
I think, is one of them.
Okay.
Because Fortnite is a free game, so like would it make sense to have it as a I think that's the reason. Anywho, so this is something that they're aspiring to do. Might happen, I don't know. But it's cool to see Riot Games to kind of like join the fold.
Right. Shall we mention the last one?
Yeah, let's do it really quick. Yeah.
Okay, so real quick, this is something that caught my eye, or our eyes, is the last
Yeah.
case of Benedict Fox, made by Plot Twist. So this is just a cool looking side-scroller, a side-scrolling adventure. And it's also has Metroidvania aspects to it, but it didn't show in the showcase, but I want to know more. It's one of those games. And the protagonist is haunted by a spirit or beast or something, and like he
I had
fights, he's
issues with the
possessed with
spirit.
that.
Yeah.
Well, what was the issue?
I didn't make out what the spirit was saying. It was like a very demonic voice and whatnot. I only
Too
caught
muffled.
like it was like yeah, way too distorted, too muffled. Like I
Like you
get the
need
general
subtitles.
gist. Subtitles would have been good. Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, it just looks like a very nice game, a well polished game, good adventure. Like it reminds me of like those games back in PS1, I think era or PS2, Heart of Darkness. Like it was similar.
Oh,
If you know that game.
Heart of Darkness was also on PC, wasn't it?
I think so. It might have made
Because
the PC, but I
I
remember it
played
on
it.
PlayStation. Yeah.
Heart of Darkness is the one where aliens take his dog and he's trying to get it. Is that the game?
I think so. And there was like all these like black
Yeah,
monsters.
exactly. If
Yeah.
that's the game that you're talking about,
Yeah.
that is actually the game that I thought of when I saw the trailer.
Funny, and we didn't actually talk about this before.
We
but
didn't talk
this is
about
what
this at all. Like
this
this
is
was
what it
also
evoked.
like it's an honorable mention. We didn't even like discuss the game that much, but I thought of that game as well. I don't know why. Like
Same.
there are no similar elements to it. Not even like the gameplay is similar. Like there's
Maybe
just
the darkness or the demon or the blackness, something. Maybe that's what evoked it, because that's
Yeah.
what it reminded me of as well. Honestly,
Because in this game, in the last case, Benedict Fox, it seems to be like he's looking for his dad, and he finds his dad on the floor, either dead or unconscious. And then I think he either like the way it was shown, like the graphics and whatnot, goes into his consciousness, or maybe like unlocks a part of the house or something, and then he goes into this like demonic world. And it
that
might have
yeah,
been that part that made me think of Heart of Darkness,
yeah,
because
could
there
be.
were parts where like he goes into the like the alien demonic sort of thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
the
Good
tubs
game,
of
by the way. If
acid
you
and
ever played
whatnot.
it,
A really,
very
really
good.
good game.
Yeah.
I like the cinematic part, like the intro of the game. So yeah, the last case of Benedict Fox, Benedict Cumberbatch, it's coming out in 2023 on Xbox consoles, PC, Game Pass Day 1, and Xbox Cloud Gaming. That's another thing. There are a lot of cloud gaming titles as well
Yeah,
in
they
the
mentioned it
showcase.
a lot, but it
Almost
doesn't
all of
affect
them, if I'm
us.
not
Yeah,
mistaken. No, we don't get it, but I care about gamers everywhere.
More options.
Those
More
lucky
opportunities.
bastards.
Those lucky. That's okay.
So yeah,
We'll be
that's
fine.
it. Like there's dozens, like 2 dozen more games to go through. Go check it out yourself. It was a really good show. I
I
think safe to
I
say the best
the
show so
best.
far.
Yeah, and there was a poll. Jeff Keighley made a poll and
Oh,
about the
I love
Xbox Game
Jeff, by the
Show.
way.
He's too cool, man. I
Yeah.
personally want to make like a whole thing about him or like a whole
I
show
don't mind
personally.
doing, yeah, yeah,
Um,
because his tweets right after the Summer Game Fest and him responding to people that were like disappointed and asking them, like, what was
yeah,
bad about it? What do you think we could have done different? And then also being frank about we worked with what we had. Like, this is like,
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I love Jeff.
He's good, and there was two things that I watched. He did like a post show on YouTube, and like he answered
Mm,
YouTube and Twitch comments. So I'm guessing it
yeah.
was on Twitch too. And he did a Twitter space, I think it's
Yeah,
called. Yeah,
spaces. Yeah,
so you can
space,
go
yeah.
listen to it, and then he invited people here and there to talk to him or
Mm.
like say how was the show while he was eating a popsicle. But anyway, like it
Oh,
was just random. It was like that. It was like, oh, I'm just eating a
why not?
popsicle, answering your question.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But anyway, and it got an A. The long story short, it got an A. It was trending towards an A. So it was the best show according to votes and to us as well.
Maybe the Sony State of Play is a close second.
Sony was good, yeah.
Because
I would
that also
say
had a lot of game announcements, and it had
that's
some
true.
really
Actually,
good
it was a good
ones. Yeah.
start. It was a good start to the Summer Game Fest, which were
Summer
like,
Game
is it
Fest kind of
Summer
dipped
Game
low a
Fest?
little bit.
Yeah.
Day of the Devs was interesting, but I don't remember the last time an indie focused show like
Was
made it
had
that big. Like yeah,
what
headlining.
what
Yeah.
I found was big was the Devolver showcase.
Oh, oh,
We haven't spoken about it, but that was an indie Devolver, sorry, an indie dev studio or publisher that showed a lot of cool
yeah.
games. I found.
No, the games were cool. Like even Day of the Dev games were cool. Not all of them kind of jive for me, but like still like they were cool games. But it was the presentation that just
Suda,
killed it with the Devolver
Mecha Suda
showcase.
51. That was cool. That was cool.
Let's not spoil anything.
I
You know
love
what?
it.
We should definitely talk about this in the next episode. So, guys, our
Yeah.
next episode, like, we'll go back to our regular schedule: Sundays recording, Mondays publishing, and we'll talk about games or announcements that we might have missed.
We
And
should.
because
There's a lot.
so many showcases. There's the Capcom showcase. There was a Assassin's Creed live stream thing that
I still
happened,
haven't
I
seen
think,
that one yet. Yeah.
yesterday. Yeah, there's the PC Gamer.
That was fun. I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's so many things. We'll again maybe do like top 5 picks from the things that we missed, and yeah,
That's it. Thanks for watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, please leave us a like or a comment and subscribe to the channel. We're obliged to say that now. And head on to the headgood.gg to follow the audio podcast on your platform of choice. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at badgoodpod. Otherwise, have a great day.
later.
Bye.